another very powerful episode of Shift Happens Catalyst Conversations. And actually, this time I'm very excited to have another catalyst on the other side, CJ. And I actually met her in Morocco,
Yeah.
Marrakech, when we were both at Minoma retreat in the desert. And in there, we also focus a lot on human design. And it turned out that we share a similar energy type. So we are both manifestors. And the reason why I call this podcast Catalyst Conversations and it's about shift happening and starting stuff, it's because I am a manifestor and manifestors are known for being a catalyst, for being the initiator, the activator, and C is the same. So maybe let's start with this. Do you feel like the activator in everybody else's and in your own life?
Oh, an activator. Oh, good question. I feel like I'm a big cheerleader for people. Definitely. I think it's a common thing though. You see more in other people than sometimes you see in yourself. But for me, if I really tune into my gut, which I'm trying to do more and more of, especially since learning I'm a manifestor, when I trust my intuition, sometimes it's unstoppable. Like I can't stop something that has to happen and I just have to ride that wave. But with other people, I have a very good gut for things that they should do or what I feel that would be right for them. But for myself, it's about trusting that the energy has a plan. The energy of the
Hmm.
universe has a plan for me and just to roll into it.
I guess one thing they also say about manifestors is like, even if you don't say anything, our presence can be kind of felt. Even if we just step into the room and we're just very nicely innocent, not saying anything, people might be scared of us even because it can be kind of felt. Have you noticed anything like this? People
Oh,
kind of,
you mean like a resting bitch face or
yeah,
like, yeah. And also like I've been told before that if you have a good energy and you bring it into a room, you bring it with you. But then if you are not feeling your best and you're walking into a room, it can have an effect on everybody else. And I remember very specifically when I was about 24, 23 years old, I'd gone through a bad breakup and I went to work and I was usually always the happy-go-lucky, jokey, maybe chatting a bit too much. But I just went through a period where I was just sullen, couldn't get a smile. I was there to do my work and get out. And my boss actually had to pull me aside. Now her and I did not get along, just a clash of personalities, but I was always very professional. But she pulled me aside one day and she was like, look, I don't know what you're going through, but whatever it is, you need to please put on a different face because it's bringing down the energy of the room. And I was like, and I was really just keeping to myself. Our work was not the kind of work where you needed to collaborate with other people. So there I am in my little cubicle, just tapping away, making the phone calls that I needed to. And she's like, I can feel your energy having an effect on everybody else. So please,
wow.
whatever it is, just pull yourself out of it. And I was like, okay, okay, that's really weird. But yeah, so
Wow.
we have felt that.
It's kind of like having this very big aura, which is also meant to protect us. It actually is true that it can be felt even if you're not trying to be seen or heard or whatever. It's still reaching other people. And that was like a
Yeah.
very good example of this.
What do they call our aura? Dense and repelling. I
Yes.
mean, that's it. I have to say, the first time I heard that, I was a bit like, no, I'm a really like nice person, da da da. But I think then you realize it's just that I always think that and I think that's why I've struggled sometimes with the manifestor energy because I like to think that I bring in a really good energy and that my energy has an effect on other people in the way like my happiness or my joy or my enthusiasm. But then we have to look at the flip side of that. And if I can think of a situation, sorry, could you ask that again?
It was something about, I think you were actually already on the right track, but I was saying something about even if you're not saying anything, even if you're not doing anything, it can be felt present.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Or it can be felt by other people, but also that I can read other people's energies very well.
Mm.
I don't know if you find that, but I find that I can really read the energy of the room before anyone else. I have like a sixth sense about what's happening, what's being felt, little moments that are being read between people and energies. Do people feel that about me? I'm assuming that they probably do. I also have a face that doesn't lie. I have a very like what you see is what you get kind of, which is a positive and negative because it's good that
Yeah.
you know how people have like two personalities? I'm sure I do to a certain extent. Everyone does. But really at work and in professional settings, it's hard for me to detach my personal self and my professional self because they come as a package deal. I've had to learn to tame that a little bit because I think it's all good when you're in your 20s and you're just like, oh, whatever. But as you get older, you do kind of have to realize that there are two components. But yeah, I do find like a strength that I have is being able to read a room very intuitively and what people are feeling. And if somebody needs a little bit of a pick me up or a little bit more, help.
I guess it's not only repelling energy, it's repelling just the people that do not actually need to be in your life. But for some people who can handle it, it's also magnetic. So attracting
Yes.
the vibe and the right kind of events, people, whatever experiences towards you.
Yeah. Look, one thing I think I've gotten rid of this as I've gotten older, but I always had this thing where I needed to be liked.
Mm.
And I found it really like, why wouldn't somebody like me? But then I heard this saying, which is like, you could be the juiciest peach in the world and somebody would have a problem with you. So I think after hearing it's honestly, it's resonated with me and as I get older and my mom passed away 14 years ago. And I think that really broke my rose tinted glasses where I had this idea. It was two very big events that I think I'll say three big events in my life that kind of changed my view on the world, which was my mom passing away in 2011. And then in 2016, you had both Brexit and Trump being elected for the first time. And I think these three events, along with me developing as an adult and as an individual, kind of made me, you don't have to be liked by everyone. And actually, people have their own motivations and things. So, really, you're not going to gel with everyone. That is just
Yeah.
a fallacy to believe otherwise. It's just not, you're just never going to get along with everyone. So, you just have to find your tribe. That is the most important thing. Within that tribe, you do good things because it's the right thing to do, because we
Mhm.
have to help each other. There's no other way. And I feel like a lot of people lose sight of that. And it's
Yeah.
something that I'm just trying to make my little part of the world a better place.
I feel the similar way. It's kind of like I can't lie. I can't fake that. Especially when it comes to events. Usually at some point I'm like, I have had enough and I need to leave like immediately.
Yeah.
I'm done. It's not about the people, it's nothing
No.
personal, like never. But at some point I'm like, okay, I just need to go to my gay event. Just go away right now. And it comes very suddenly, and then I'm like, and I have a very nice Manicheni friend. You have also met him, Piotr. Yeah, and he has also been a podcast that actually I just recorded the second episode with him. So he's
Oh,
two-time guest already. And he told me, because we were attending also conference together last year,
yeah.
he told me that from my face, you can immediately tell once I'm like done. And I'm like, I just go into yuck. I have kind of like this disgust on my face even. And I
You're just
can't.
tired.
Well, I'm just, I hate this thing and I need to go away right now.
But I think it's getting slowly shedding that like people pleasing thing, which I think, especially if you are a charismatic person, it's very easy to just be like, oh, yeah, everything's great. But I think when you really listen to yourself and you're like, actually, I don't want to do this thing or I don't want to be here. And I still have a big people pleasing angle, not in the way of like, oh, I just want to, like, I just don't want to make people upset or disappoint people.
Mhm.
So I'll do everything with that I can to make sure I don't disappoint people too much. But things that are just within my little circle and things that I can change, like, yeah, leaving a party, if it's not going to affect the person who's hosting it, I'm out of
Yeah.
there. I'll see you later. Like, there's no reason. Now I'm like, if I don't leave all the time, it's going to affect this and this and this. And honestly, I'm so conscious of my realm and how it affects my own family life, my energy. Man, as you get older, you only have a finite amount of energy and you got to hold on to that, man. You really got to hold on
Oh,
to
yeah.
it.
I
Because
have started leaving events early, and some friends who know this about me, they are even like telling me, "Okay, you can leave early if you want. I'm not gonna be upset about it." And I'm okay. And I have started doing it, and I just like I think they even call it Irish exit something.
they do. I was going to, yeah, it's the Irish
Yeah,
exit.
yeah. Because you live in Ireland, you know all about it. It's kind of like you just vanish, disappear. For me, that's the easiest because if you start saying goodbyes and hugging, I'm like, this takes forever. I want to go now.
Oh, look, I don't even really go out that much anymore. Like, I have a toddler now, and honestly, I don't have the same energy that I do for evening events.
Mm.
Daytime stuff, I'm there for it. But honestly, the
Yeah.
evening, I like to be at home now. I didn't realize this about myself, but I'm quite a homebody. I love to go out and do things, but I need to be in my little space at a certain time and nesting or with my family. That's kind of my happy place. And we all evolve. That might change later, but that's where I am now.
Yeah, similar. But
Yeah.
okay, let's go to your podcast now, because I know you have a podcast called
Yeah.
Fiscally Challenged.
Yeah.
And in that, you are actually doing something a little bit unconventional around money. Tell us a little bit about it. What are you doing?
Yeah. So honestly, if a younger me were looking at older me now and I was doing a podcast on money, like myself included, and anyone who knows me would be laughing because I'm not a money person. Like my sister and I once went to a tarot reader, and this tarot reader was like, "You and your sister, you're very different in many ways. You're also very similar, but you were very different." And she's like, "If I gave you $10 and I gave your sister $10, your sister would put it away and section it into little pockets in her room and almost like little investing pots, right? Whereas I'd be
Mm.
like, $10, woo!" Like me and money, for me, money is there to be spent. It's there to enjoy. But then it also means that I don't know how to manage it very well. Anyway, I realized I always had this impression that I was bad with money, right?
Mm.
It kind of also made it a bit comical, like, oh, CJ, she's a bit shit with money, but whatever. And then I had my little one, Leo, who's now 3 years old. I think you can have your own little quirks, but then when you have children, they hit you in the face, right?
Mm.
I was like, I can't live like this anymore because I don't want I realized that I have kind of a complicated relationship with money. It's not just that I'm bad with money. I did a money activation workshop back in 2020 during lockdown with a girl who's now a really, really close friend of mine. And she was running this free workshop online. And during that workshop, it just came around sporadically. So I went and she started talking about like the emotional side of money. And I didn't realize money had emotional sides to it. Money has emotions. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
you can love it, you can hate it, and it can also hate you back or love you back.
Exactly. And you can have a traumatic relationship with money due to things from your past, your ancestors. Like it's a layered thing. And there were people honestly crying there. And at first I was a bit like, what's going on? Because there were random people that I didn't know. And then I was crying because it was
Mm.
something like, tell me why you think you deserve money. And actually saying it out loud, I was like, I couldn't say it.
Mm.
Or I really struggled. It's like, tell me why money thinks it needs, like, convince me why money needs to be with you. And you're like, oh, but. And so in 2020, I didn't have a baby, but by 2022, I did. And I was a stay-at-home parent for 2 years, and it was honestly the best thing ever. But when it was getting close for him to like then start in creche, I started thinking about what I wanted to do. And at first, the idea was to do a dummy's guide to crypto because that was so
Mm.
far out of my reach. But then I was like, oh, CJ, come on. You don't even know about money. You're so bad with money. And I was like, I am bad with money. I'm really bad with money. Why am I so bad with money? And so then the podcast came, and I'm like, honestly, I think this is a manifestor thing, but like, with a lot of the pivotal moments in my life where I made big changes, it was like a fire up my ass. It was like I couldn't control it. It's like once I had the idea, it was like I was on a speed train, but I wasn't in the driver's seat. Like someone else was driving, but I was just like, whoa, let's go for it. And so basically, in a very bringing back to it, I talk about money from the psychological, emotional, spiritual, and anthropological sense.
And I guess this is actually evergreen, because if
Yes,
somebody makes a podcast about crypto, this will be like in 2 years, maybe the information is already like obsolete. It doesn't
true.
apply anymore. But if you talk about the mindset, it doesn't matter what kind of currency we have. If you have crypto or euros or I don't know, gold, trading leather goods,
Yeah.
whatever, it's still the same mindset psychology, because we will still be humans with our thoughts, emotions, and all that stuff.
Yeah, and like, look, money is never going to go away, right? And if it's not money, it'll be something else. There's always going to be some kind of a bartering system because that's how we keep a roof over our heads. That's how the economy is set up, and we're not going to change that. And look, it's a privileged position to be like, oh, I have an issue with money, da da da. But again, we all need money to survive. And what is the harm in doing an internal investigation into what your money mindset is and how it was created? What are the emotional barriers and trauma that have set up why you are the way you are? And why do some people seem to have no emotional hangups when it comes to money? Like to the point where I feel like I would feel very emotionally crippled by money conversations. You know what I mean? I would just like, just whatever. How much do I owe? What do I have to do? Just, I don't care, And I feel very uncomfortable around people who would talk about money a lot, or, I'm like, what kind of a person are you? Which was judgmental on
Mm.
my part, but it's just because I didn't understand that. In the opening part of my trailer, the first sentence is, I hate money.
Yeah, I think Maria, who was a guest, she was pointing this out in the most recent episode. That is like, why do you say that you hate money? Come on, you're like sending kind of like message to the
Bad energy.
universe or something.
Yeah, and so that was the last episode of the 10-part series, and she was the one who was like, "When I listened to your trailer, I, like, cringed," and because she works a lot in the energy realm, and actually I'm going to her retreat in October. I love Maria. She's made me realize that money is not the issue I have, because I have an ethical and a moral issue with money, but it doesn't come down to money itself. It's about how people use it. I look at the world around us, and a lot of it comes down, why are bad things happening? Because it's greed. It's people wanting more than they deserve because they think they need this. It all comes down to power, corruption, and money is just a tool that they use to get there, right? Taking money away, offering money to people, incentivizing things. And so I'm relearning what money means, changing the dialogue, and also encouraging financial literacy, because I think that that is something that, like, I have a master's degree. I went to some really good schools around the world. I'm worldly. I've, like, lived in 6 countries now. There's no reason why my financial literacy should be as poor, I think, as it is. And so I'm trying to change the narrative. And I'm really advocating for financial literacy in schools, and even for adults, for fiscal phobes like me to feel better, more confident, because we all should. Everyone has the right to a secure financial future and mindset. Everyone. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm to change.
Because it's actually more than just budgeting and savings. If you can do all this budgeting, you can put money away, invest it, save it. But if your mindset is not correct around money, if you have some emotional trauma, maybe even related to this, I guess everything is just useless.
Yeah, like, you can say, "Oh, I need money. Oh, I deserve $1 million." But if you actually were to ask money, like, one of the things that one of my guests, I think it was episode 2, Melissa, who was actually the one who did the money activation workshop in 2020. She was also at Monoma. You met her there as well. She was one of the facilitators. It's even like your money home. Like, where do you keep your money? Is your wallet, like, a bit scrappy and full of old receipts and got pen marks on it? That's exactly what my wallet looked like.
Until December last year, my money was just randomly somewhere in my bag over
You
the
see?
plane.
You
And
know,
actually, I was living in Barcelona at that moment. Then a friend who is actually from Barcelona and she's now living in Estonia. That's another story. But she came to Barcelona with me and we were just walking down the streets. And she took me into a very nice leather shop with like a lot of handbags and bags. And I finally bought like a small little wallet. And she was asking me, okay, where did you keep your money like before that? I was like, it's just randomly in this
like,
one little pocket in the bag. Like,
yeah.
she's no. This is not the way you treat the money. It's kind of like you just have it lying around and you don't really care. Of course, it's gonna walk away from you as well.
Yeah, because it's like, how Melissa talks about it. That's your money home. So if you walk into your home and it's completely messy and there's stuff everywhere, that also has an effect on your mind. So the same, you should treat your wallet. And look, money is very different than it was even 20 years ago, right? Everything's on a tap tap
Mhm.
kind of basis, but you still have cards, you still have bits of information. You're always going to have a little bit of money with you. And, like, that little home, even if it's small, it doesn't have to be a big wallet.
Mhm.
Just keep it tidy. Don't have too many old receipts and things like that. So little tips like that. And I already know it's had quite a positive effect on people who've listened, because I've had people who are even just not keeping stuff around their home. Get rid of it, sell it, donate it,
Mhm.
do something positive with the stuff that's giving you a bit of anxiety. So it's had an effect on me. I definitely am more positive in my language about money and how it is in my life, and that I deserve money, that I deserve to have a
Mm.
secure financial future for myself, my child, for future generations. So it's just little changes that can have a big impact.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, even today, when talking about value and money, I had like small kind of like business meetings. So I might be doing some documentations or writing for somebody. And they asked me to give some kind of quote. And then I said the number. She was like, ask a little bit more. And I'm like, can I really ask for a little bit more for this? Because the
Yeah.
number was already higher than I had initially imagined in my mind. And then she was like, okay, but ask a little bit more. I was like, oh, she actually wants to give me even more money for that little writing job. I'm like, okay. So it's also about having the courage to ask and also seeing your own value, I guess.
Well, so much of it comes down to, like, self-worth. And I think, look, I hate to make things gendered, but unfortunately we do. Women
Mhm.
typically have a harder time asking for things that they deserve. And it's true, we deserve it, you know? the job where I was able to demand, it was actually the job that I had last where I actually earned the most than I ever have. And I had a nice boss and everything, but I just wasn't happy. I think that's when I realized I didn't want to work in my previous career anymore, which was TV. But I had been made redundant from a job that I really loved. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's my opportunity to finally make a move because I'd stayed in that job because I was waiting for an opportunity to come up and never did. It kind of did. Then I got made redundant. I was like, is this my time to change? Then someone told me to apply for this job, another job, which I was a bit like, oh, I don't know. Do I really want this? All throughout the interview process, I was still very professional. But because it wasn't a job that I really wanted, I didn't have the, it's like sometimes you can be a bit desperate when you're interviewing. There's a lot of reasons you can be desperate that you just need a job, right? But I wasn't in that position yet. And I really wanted to find my thing. But I just spoke very factually about everything that I'd done. Yeah, I've done this. Of course, I've done that. Da, 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 da. And then they kept asking me for more interviews. And I was like, why? I don't even think I'm putting my best self forward. And then it came to this asking for a salary. And then I just had this inkling of like, just ask for more. You don't even really want this job. So if they don't give it to you, the salary that you want, what's the big deal? And they met me almost where I wanted. Like I put it bogus, not a bogus, but like it was, quite a bit more than what they'd offered. And they were like, okay, we can't meet you there, but we'll meet you here. And I was like, why don't we just approach all things like this? Because of course somebody can say,
Yeah.
if you're not going to go, okay, they offered me, I'm not going to say 20. Okay, let's just say 20,000. You're not going to go, okay, they've offered 20,000. I'm going to ask for 40,000. Why can't you ask for 30? Why can't you and then they're like, okay, whatever, just be bold, trust yourself. If they got you to this end of the interview process, there's obviously something that they like.
Maybe they like the authenticity and the courage that you had, and you're just so not bothered by anything, bringing your
Maybe.
power.
Yeah, like I wish, look, the one of the first jobs I had in London, I felt so bold asking for 2 grand more or a grand more. Like, honestly, I asked for a grand more thinking, oh my God, who am I? What are they going to do? And they were like, yeah, sure. And then when they said yes, I was like, damn it, I should have more. But we're so nervous. And I think that I'm currently listening to, I love Mel Robbins, and she's just done an episode on the male and female brains. And a lot of what they talk about, and look, you're from the more Scandinavian part of the world where they say like boys and girls, when they come from countries where equality is more across the board, their brain development is very similar. But where we tell girls, and we do this unfortunately, where girls are not as able as boys, but that becomes part of your conditioning. So we just need to scrap that. Everyone's capable of doing whatever they want as long as they really want it and they put in the work.
Wow. And another thing that I just recently heard from another podcast, which was in Estonia, and it was about actually law of attraction. So it's not only about, I want this, I demand, it's also about the kind of value that you offer.
Yeah.
And often you just offer some value and the money just comes to you. It's not like you're just sitting on the sofa, imagining your house, your car, your perfect husband, and just attracting. You actually have to do something. You offer value, and this value attracts all the money to you.
It's like exactly. You can't just buy a lottery ticket and then sit on the couch and be like, good things are coming. That doesn't work either.
Manifesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. Manifestation, living authentically as well, not doing things that other people want you to do. It's like, how are you living your life? Even if it's like, I know you talk a lot about exercising and doing holistic things that are true to you. Say if you wanted to find a partner, go and do the things that you enjoy, and you will probably find a partner in those areas. And probably good to find somebody who likes the same kind of things that you do.
Because it's I guess I even wrote a blog post about it. It was something about why I'm looking at guys who have six-pack abs. Because it's not only about the abs, it's not only about the physique, it's about lifestyle, values.
I'll agree.
And it has so much behind it because I'm not in my best shape right now. I'm okay, but I used to be bodybuilder. I was like also on the stage. I have been competitive athlete for many, many years. And I know it's like a lifestyle. I know how much discipline it takes. And I know that I want somebody, he doesn't have to be a competitive athlete, but having some kind of similar lifestyle.
It's a mindset thing.
Where health is coming first, not partying and doing crazy stuff, but health first, sleep first. I need that kind of lifestyle. I need that kind of partner. And I would actually like to have somebody who eats cleaner than me, because then it's also easier for me to be on track.
I totally agree with you. Like, I think a big thing, and as you get older, health is wealth. Like, I
Mhm.
can't stress that enough. Like, having lost my mom in 2011 from asthma, she died from an asthma attack, but she also had type 2 diabetes and did not focus on herself. She was a nurse who worked in the evenings so that she could be there during the day for us and her family, our family, and she didn't sleep, right?
Mm.
And so, like, I am so acutely aware that she could have, look, I'm Buddhist and we fully believe that when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So it's not like if it wasn't asthma, it would have been something else that would have probably ended her life at that time. But if we're looking at just like, had she maybe taken a bit more care of herself and focused on herself, maybe she would be here a bit longer, you
Yeah.
know? And that's my whole thing now is like, I'm only here for a short amount of time. And the
Mhm.
time that I have with my child in the grand scheme of his own life is a very small amount of time. But it's my job to look after myself for as long as best as I can so that I'm here for the longest amount of time. So honestly, I spend so much time and money on my health. And it is,
Mhm.
I don't smoke, I drink very minimally. Look, everyone has different motivations. That's my motivation. And I
Mhm.
will always put the quality of my food, the quality of the products we use, the space that we live in, how much green space we have that, and our time together, our connection as like pivotal to everything else. You know, I think maybe that's why I'm nesting more because that's where you recoup and re-energize. And
Yeah.
yeah, I will always spend more money on my food
Mhm.
than health. Yeah, food and
Yeah,
health.
if you drink minimally, you save so much money to spend it on good food, like good quality food.
Organic, pesticide free,
Mhm.
like none or low sugar. It's so important.
Yeah. As a side note, it's actually quite interesting that you lost a mom like 14 years ago. I lost my father 13 years ago. So it's almost the same.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
How did
And
you lose your father?
he was 46 when he died, but he was like overweight almost his whole life. He had also type 2 diabetes,
Yeah.
which also led to kidney failure. And finally, his heart just couldn't
Or just gave up.
handle all the pressure. So type 2 diabetes also seems to be like real killer here.
It is. And like that is a lifestyle one. You know, type
Mhm.
1 diabetes you
Yeah.
can't really avoid, but type 2 you can as much as, you know, and I think when you've lost a parent, and that makes it very interesting that we both have this mindset of eating well, working out, keeping our mind as sharp as possible. Because when you've lost somebody so close to you, you know, parent, sibling, child, close friend, whatever. And I know this from other people who have lost people close to them. Your brain is different.
Mm.
For some people, it means they go on a more destructive path because they're just like, oh, what does this world even mean? For me, it had the flip side. For my sister and I had the flip side where we were just like, we became like workout machines. I
Mhm.
lost, God, how much weight did I lose? I just started training like a beast and eating really well. God, I think I lost like 20 kilos or something or close
Wow.
to because I was just like, I can't live like this. I don't want that. Now that I
Mm.
have a child, even more so, I'm like, I don't want to die early. I want to live as long as I can and have all my faculties. Like my dad has Alzheimer's, but he's 81. That's why I'm really conscious about my sleep. And we should all be
Mhm.
very conscious about our sleep. And, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not only about money, it's also about the health because if you
Uh,
don't have the health, you can't enjoy your riches.
I totally agree with you. But yeah, it's like talking about these catalysts for change. I think that there are big moments in your life that will, if you don't listen to what's happening and make changes, then there was no point getting the message in the first place. Like I think
Mhm.
my mom passing away was a huge wake up call for look at your life, like what's going on. Before that, I was partying a lot and not eating super well. And maybe not that I was detached from my family, but like any young 20 something year old, I was 23 when my mom passed away. And I was going through that whole like, yeah, whatever, friends, parties, whatever. And actually, what does that mean in the grand scheme of life? So that was a big wake up call. The next one was to move from Sydney to London. Actually, 10 days, my mom passed away on June 16th. And 10 days after that, I had a one way ticket to Berlin. It was already booked. I was meant to move to Berlin. I had a job lined up. I had accommodation. And then my mom passed away just out of the blue. She just collapsed in our home. The ambulance didn't make it in time. And my sister and I were notified that she'd collapsed. We didn't know that she'd already died. And when we made our way to the house, I picked her up from university because she was actually waiting for my mom to pick her up. we saw 3 ambulances outside, and we just ran out, and these 3 ambulance paramedics grabbed us, and I just looked at the guy and I said, "Is she dead?" And he said, "Yes, unfortunately, she's died." And we just dropped
Wow.
down, like, screaming. I didn't realize that my mom's body was actually on the porch. And the first, after we kind of like were on the ground, like just staring at the ground, after like, what is that? My sister looks up at me. She's like, "Are you still moving to Berlin?" And I was like, "How can you ask me that? Our whole life is just fucked itself."
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't say it like that, but I was like, "How? Like, what? Huh?" I don't think I could even verbalize it. And then, of course, I didn't leave. But there, that fire was still in my butt or my
Mhm.
energy. And I had never had any desire to move to London. Like, I'm British, my parents are British, and I just, I don't know, for whatever reason, but something just called me to it. And then a series of events led me to have a one-way ticket there. And I thought it would take
Mhm.
6 months, but that was in 2014. And I met my husband, obviously boyfriend at the time, in 2016. And that's it. Life is just, it's also,
Mhm.
if a decision felt right, even if I was a bit like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? I just ran with it. And like, I'm so glad I kept just accepting the
Mm.
goals. And I do feel like my mom was a catalyst for that as well, to be like, come on, keep going, keep going, keep going. And honestly, I feel like I practice gratitude and I'm very grateful for the life that I
Mm.
have.
I also feel that for manifestors, it's quite normal to just do big life changes as well. Just move to another country and forget to tell anybody that you just moved to another country, another continent, whatever, that kind of stuff. For us, it's just like when it comes, it's like, oh, I'm going, I'm doing it. Do,
Yes.
do, do.
I feel like you
It's so
can't
normal.
control it. Like when you move to Barcelona, I'm sure you
Yeah.
just like have to go. I gotta go. I gotta
It
take.
was like, I have to go. And when I moved back, I was like, okay, I have to go now. I have to go back now. I need to go
Yes.
immediately. Hey,
Oh,
we have
I
an
was just
she's also traveling with me always.
Of course. She's a traveler herself. She's a manifestor. She gets it. It's just, I just feel like when you, and I think to other people, manifestor or not, it can be quite like, they're like, but how do you just do that? I can't imagine myself not moving because I also think
Yeah.
that because of, I was born in Hong Kong and my parents moved us around a lot. I kind of thrive on change. The idea of staying in one
Mhm.
country for the rest of my life honestly feels quite unnerving. I
Yeah.
don't think I'll ever find a place where I'm like, or if I do, wow, that will be a big day.
Yeah, it's kind of like sometimes it just comes, this urge to move. I just had to go to Barcelona 1 year ago. And actually, it happened in Morocco. So the last day, Sunday, when everybody was saying goodbye. So every second Sunday in November in Estonia is Father's Day. So I was just scrolling on Instagram, everybody was leaving already. And then I saw somebody celebrating Father's Day and something broke in me and I had to remove myself. I was sitting in children's playground for 45 minutes and just crying
Oh my
and talking to my dead father. And there was also like some random dog came to me. And I think that was like some father spirit coming to me. And then I realized, okay, I want a family. I want a family. And for this, I need to go back to Estonia. So it's kind of like, boom, happened.
And you knew where you had to go to achieve that.
Yeah, because the vibe here is like different. I haven't met that guy yet, but it's like I feel everything is kind of clicking into place. It's more peaceful, green, fresh air, and everything is more like family vibes.
I totally get it. And look, you just have to keep doing the things that you enjoy. One thing that I think is really cool that I'm seeing is that running groups are becoming a real place for people to meet other people. Like here in Dublin,
Alright.
there is several groups that one you can just go running, but they have singles meetups. And honestly, I'm not a fantastic runner. Honestly, I find running really, really difficult,
Mhm.
but that is realistically a place that I might want to meet someone. Because going back to what you were saying, it's about, I would really struggle to be with someone who loved eating junk food and just
Mhm.
sitting and playing games all weekend. That's just like, I would never do this. And someone who likes to be really active. I take pride in the food that I eat and preparing it and going to nice places to eat and
Mhm.
talking about it. It consumes my mind. If I've had
Yeah.
a bad meal or something that I feel wasn't prepared well, or like it really like not annoys me. That's so dramatic, but like it really, oh, man, but like good quality food, making food together, somebody who cares about their health. and well-being, it's so important. And you know what? There's a place for everyone. There are people who love to game all weekend and eat the kind of foods and they need to find each other. And that is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, true, true. I'm actually part of a running club again because I used to run for 10 years. I was doing marathons and stuff, and I'm still going to the same running club sometimes.
Oh, nice.
It's also Sparta, so it's also a gym. So I have my strength training, I have my gym, and this gym also has a running group. So sometimes I go and also run with these people. So it's already like, similar people, similar interests. So yeah, I'm
It's
feeling
really
like
important. It's really important. Again, you're just living authentically and doing things that you need to be doing because they keep you happy. And if you meet someone on that journey, fantastic. And if it's not that particular journey, it'll be another way. I think that's the only way you can do stuff. I'm not a person who enjoys going to bars and being there at 2 a.m. Like, why would you go do that? It makes no
yes.
sense.
I have some friends who are like, "Oh yeah, you need to go out there to go to parties," but I'm like, my next husband is not at the party.
If you're
He's
not
at the
there,
party.
your next husband is not going to be, your husband is not there.
Yeah,
Because
I'm like, he's
what
not
else?
there eating or he's sleeping because he has a training tomorrow.
You know, you got to think that way. I truly agree with you. Also, the thought of social media, sorry, online dating and
Oh,
swiping, like just scares the bejesus out of me now. So I would try and avoid that like the plague. But I know a lot of people have had very successful
well,
connections.
I tried, but actually today, just maybe half an hour before we got into this recording and call, I got an invitation to speed dating event, like in real life. I was like, yes.
Love
Because
that.
at some point I signed up, I gave them my details. So there's also like specific age group that like inviting. So 10 women, 10 men. And then
Yeah.
you get to meet, I will get to meet and talk to 10 different men. It's we have some icebreaking games and questions. So you have 5 or 6 minutes with everybody. And if you like each other, the organizers will give you the other person's contact details or something if
Okay.
it's a match. But first, you actually get to see them in real life. You get to talk to them. It's so much better than swiping because for me, every time I open a dating app, it just takes all my energy away. It feels so draining. And for me, I don't know if it's a manifesto thing, but it's like, it feels like you're responding to these people. And then like, do I like it or not? I'm like, I get so bored. It kind of takes all my energy away. I can't do it. Sometimes I get into this with enthusiasm and optimism. Okay, maybe this time. And
Yeah.
then no, I'm just so bored and I don't need a new pen pal. No.
No, I'm with you. Look, I'm so interested to hear how, like, do you connect with other manifestors? I mean, I know it's not also like a thing that people know about themselves, but is that something you consider when you go into the dating world now?
Maybe a little bit.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. Or, do you need a generator to balance out your manifestor vibes? I don't know.
My long-term partners have both been generators actually.
Interesting.
But I feel like maybe manifest generators can be a little bit
Maybe.
too overwhelming because they're like, "Wee." They're fun, but they're also like, yeah, my energy is more like one direction and two very intense, but they're like, do, 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 do. And it's like, oh my God, what the hell is happening?
See, I feel like I have manifesting generator energy sometimes. I honestly like because my mind is.
Mm. Yeah,
um,
that happens to me sometimes. It's kind of like, and I'm like,
yeah,
who am I? Who am I? What am I doing?
I
And,
know.
and then I actually still get to this point where I'm like, my energy just ran out.
Depleted,
Oh, God.
depleted. Yeah,
Mm.
that's really interesting. Yeah, so I feel like, you know, I had that moment. My mom passed away, then I moved to London. When I moved to London, I just couldn't stop it. And even when I met my partner, literally the relationship before that, we blocked out the apps. And when that one ended, and honestly, there was no overlap, but within a week of breaking up with the other person, I met my husband. I'd already met him because it was through work. But like he found out that I was single and then we went on a date, da 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 da. But I was like, I'm just not gonna do the apps. If I can help it, I'm just gonna avoid them. Honestly, and he came into my life and he was a completely different person. He's a gentleman. I think he was the person who made me realize that everyone I dated before was like a guy or a boy. And then this was mad. Our first date, he wanted to pick me up from my apartment and I was like in London and I was like, what? You don't get that. You get a text message with where to meet. You know what I mean? You meet that person outside the bar or the restaurant. It's like, I'll pick you up from your house. And I was like, who is this creep? And I'm typically like a runner. Probably I have a very high emotional intelligence, but when it comes to love, I can be quite emotionally immature. And I maybe because I'm just scared of it. My parents didn't have the best relationship either. So I didn't have any good modeling of what a good, healthy relationship is. But he wouldn't let me run away. And I don't mean in like a prisoner style, but just every time I tried to run away, he was like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I'd be like, no one has ever questioned me. What is this? You know? And
Really?
I think that's what and again, it was scary. It's scary not doing what you normally do, which is running away. Even if something's good, you just run away because it's easier to do that than fronting something really good for you. But he wouldn't let me run away. And then, so even when he proposed, we'd never, not that we hadn't talked about it, but I wasn't expecting it at all. And then I was like, yeah, that's like a good idea. Yeah. Okay. Sure. And then everything just felt like it just fit. It just worked
Mhm.
feel like hard work. Not saying that we don't have our bits and pieces and our disagreements or whatever, but it's never felt like, why did I do this? I never felt like it never felt hard. It
Mm.
felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah. I guess actually the best things have to come with some kind of ease. They just fit into your life.
Yeah, like I always think you should work hard for things, but you should never work so hard that it takes away your own integrity.
Mhm.
You know, you see so many people bending over backwards to chase somebody, and it's like, I truly believe that if two people are meant to be together, they will find a way. I mean, like more spiritually and energetically. You don't have to break yourself to be with somebody because I think then you're not even being yourself. And then if you're
Mhm.
somebody else trying to chase somebody, what they're buying into is not actually you. It's a broken version of yourself. So
Okay.
that's never a good thing.
True.
And one thing that like my husband, because he works at a different company, but he saw me in my gym gear, he saw me without makeup. So he saw me at my imperfect self and he still wanted me. Our first date, he already knew what I looked like at my quote unquote worst. So like I didn't have to pretend with my hair all perfect and my makeup. Like he already knew what I looked like.
Mm.
So that's also kind of cool. So yeah, I really love our love story. Yeah.
Yeah. That feels very good to be authentically you, especially for us. Because I guess very often because the manifested energy does have this repellent quality, very often we might feel very isolated. And that's why we might start masking ourselves to please people and to be more accepted. But if you actually allow ourselves to be who we are,
For
it's like,
sure.
oh, it saves so much energy. You don't have to play somebody. You can be just you. It's so
No, and then you attract the person who actually wants to be in your space.
fun.
I meet people all the time, and like some people, you're just like, oh my God, I feel like I've known this person forever. And then there's some people who you're just like, we're just never gonna gel. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have that thing, and I've learned to accept it. It's okay that we can be cordial.
Yeah.
That's cool. You know, some people are just good at being friends with everybody. I used to be
Mm.
that person. And as I get older, I'm just trying to be nice to everyone. And sometimes you just meet those people who feel like you're soul people.
Yeah.
It can be a
I know
person
what
that
you
you
mean.
meet at the supermarket and end up having a random conversation with that goes on for like the other day at one of my favorite stores. I found out one of the people there who I always say hello to. She's like, oh, I'm going next week. I'm going to Portugal on a 5-day juice fast. And I was like, that sounds so cool. What did we do? We spent 30 minutes just talking about how woo woo, like the woo woo side of my
Mhm.
life. I think with some of my friends, I don't realize how much I can dip into that life, which is why these retreats, like the ones that we went, the one Manova one we went into in Morocco, and the one I'm going with Ria, I can really into that side of myself. Like I was born 38 years ago. My birthday was on Thursday, just gone. And I was born on a full moon. And so this year, again, it fell on a full moon. And so I felt very like, I don't know. And again, with this catalyst for change, I'm very much someone who I feel is connected to the moon and the universe and the energies around
Mhm.
that. And so I have been feeling, I think just a few months before this, I've been feeling quite down with everything that's happening in the world and like, what's my purpose? Does my podcast actually, like, it felt quite not inconsequential to everything that's happening in the world right now. Why am I talking about money when half the world is on fire and all these terrible things are happening? Why am I doing this? How? Because my whole thing is like, I want to leave the world a better place than I found it,
Right.
even if it's my small section of the world, right? And it makes me feel down when I feel like I'm not achieving that. And so in the months leading up, I was feeling kind of like And I think you asked me before, you've done season 1. How come you haven't launched into season 2? It was 2 parts. One, I'm going to do things slightly differently, and that will take more resources and more planning and da da da. But 2, I had to have a long, hard talk to myself, like, why have I lost a bit of speed? And it wasn't because I have lost love for the podcast. It's because I was feeling so affected by the world. If you see my social media, my personal one, it's basically just Palestine and Trump and stuff. And that was having quite a big effect. Why am I putting something out there that's not making that situation better? But then I had to have a bit of a talk with myself. And I think with coming up to my birthday and everything, I was like, no, my podcast has a place because I'm talking about money and I talk about the ethics of money. And that's where we are right now. So it does have a purpose. And it's like, that podcast is not going to be for everyone. Just like your podcast is for very specific people. My podcast is for very specific people. And I have to realize that those people want to hear what I have to say or what other people that I interview more so have to say. There are fiscal phobes just like me. I have an old school friend that lives in Denmark and he's a professor, Australian, but like a professor. So he's super smart, right? We haven't spoken in years, maybe 20 years. And he listened to my podcast because I posted it on Facebook. And out of the blue, this guy messages me and he's like, CJ, I didn't even realize I had these issues with money, but I like you. I'm a fiscal phobe. And I was thinking, you have a PhD, you're like a professor in like engineering or science in Denmark. Like what? Because we're all afflicted by different things. And so your voice is important to somebody who you maybe even never even met before, or you haven't spoken to in a really long time. You never know where it's going to land. So you just got to do what you want to do because you will find your tribe. You just need to work to get there.
And for me, the podcast actually gives a very nice excuse to connect with people. And I have a podcast. I want to have you on it, and then we can have a deep conversation about something, and I get to go into very deep topics. So I also got some new facts and experiences about you that I had like no idea about them, and maybe I wouldn't even have known how to ask or how to get into that.
It's true. Like we didn't know that we both lost our parents within a year of each other, both from like, it seems like complications with type 2 diabetes to some certain.
And I was also 23 at the moment, so it was like it's kind of like interesting parallel universe kind of thing.
You said your dad was 46. My mom was 56. This is crazy. It's like, so it's interesting because like when you're in Minoma was a very big festival and it's hard to, and I think before I went to Minoma, I was going through some health stuff myself and trying to overcome that. So I had gone in there not feeling the best version of myself. And I had to have a chat with myself again, being like, you're going to meet people there. You're not going to be able to connect with everyone. And that's okay. Because the old CJ would want to be like friends with everybody and be like, so I already knew 3 people going there. I know, sorry, with Maria, probably 4. But anyway, in a group of how many of us were there?
60?
Was it 60? It felt like more than that. Maybe it was.
Maybe 60 participants plus organizers or something.
Plus the facilitators, right. But again, you're not going to be able to connect with everyone. And so I was a bit more quiet on the first day. And eventually I'm somebody who, people who know me would say I'm extremely extroverted. But I think I'm actually either an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert. I don't know which way it goes, especially as I've gotten older. But once I feel like, if I feel comfortable somewhere, I'm like out. So as soon as I felt I was in my element, I was wanting to meet people. But again, I wasn't meeting everyone. I just found my people who were aligned with me. And then I was super happy. But again, like you and I connected, but there was only so much we could talk about.
Yeah, being manifestors.
Yeah. But then sometimes you stick to the people that you know, but then also then you want to go flap your wings and find other people. So it's nice to be able to have these conversations because everyone has a story. Everyone is interesting. Everyone has value. It's just spending the time getting to know them. But like life is so busy that unfortunately you just don't take that time because you don't have it.
Actually, in a few weeks, I'm going to Amsterdam for the Mind Valley University. And this is more than 1,000 people.
Wow. Where is that?
Amsterdam.
Oh my gosh. How long is it for?
2 weeks. So I've done it before twice when it was happening in my city, in my country. And then it used to be 3 weeks. So it's total like 1,500 people. And of course, you can't connect with everybody. And that's actually the reason I burned out last year. because I was just trying to be everywhere and just talk and just network. And then I had massive headache one day and I just got, but actually it was good that I burned out because I connected to my manifestor energy and the fact that I do burn out and I have this feeling of disgust that I need to leave events early. So that actually made me write a book about manifestors because I had such a big burnout last year.
Oh, so you did a deep dive into yourself and what
Yeah,
it could be. Yeah.
yeah. But it's especially if you don't have the sacred defined and your energy is inconsistent, it's so easy to burn out.
So that was the catalyst for you. The burnout was the catalyst to write the book.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And
So
did
for
it come, was it like that fire that we talked about earlier that you just had
I
to
kind
do
of
it?
maybe I got kind of like angry. It's like, ah, why did this happen? Why did I do this to myself? And I'm like, okay, I need to study more about it. I want to write about it. I want to help other manifestors. Sometimes you have to go into this shitty thing and it can be your catalyst for change
Totally.
and it can get you doing things.
I think a lot of big changes in people's lives come from shitty things that happen, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. It's kind of,
Sometimes it's also like you just want to be better. You want to have better health. You want to be more optimal. And it doesn't always have to be this negative catalyst.
no.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, they're different ones. And, but it's sometimes it's something that changes you, like creates almost like a bit of an earthquake in your system.
Mm.
So you have this mini shake up and you're like, okay, there's a lesson to be learned here.
Mhm.
Then you have to do what you want with that lesson and make something better. And that's so important. Look, everyone's different. I will never know what it means to grow up, like be born and grow up and live your life in the same town. I will never know what that means to have all your family around you and to live in the same house that you were brought home in. I mean, I've had so many homes in my lives, I can't tell you, but that means that then I've become very adaptable.
Mhm.
Yeah. So sometimes for people that change, it can be scary because it's changing too much.
Yeah.
Then there's the other side, me, and maybe I run away too easily, or I'm always looking for the next thing. It's like, where's the happy medium?
Because you like to start things, to start something new.
Exactly. I like to start things anew, and then I'm always like, am I running away? I don't know. I don't
I don't
know.
know, Wayne or running towards something.
Yeah, I think I'm still running towards whatever that is, but along the way, I'm picking up some pretty incredible things like great friends, my husband, where we live, which is in Dublin. I never in my wildest dreams would have ever imagined moving to Dublin. It's not somewhere where people go like, oh, my dream is to move to Dublin. I'm sure
Mhm.
some do, but you think more about cities like London, New York, Berlin, Amsterdam.
Mhm.
But actually, Dublin has been this kind of welcome, beautiful thing. Piotr loves Dublin, obviously, because he
Yeah.
spends a lot of time. His partner is Irish. His family lives not too far away from me. I do feel like this is where I needed to be at this stage of my life.
Mhm.
It's a calmer lifestyle than London was. For us, it's been a beautiful place to have a baby because it's very calm. Everyone's very friendly and warm and they genuinely care about each other. And I feel it's giving us a bit of grounding. And again, it's just being open to things. Like when my husband got approached for the job, we didn't even, when he started interviewing, I didn't even think about, oh, there's an option that we'd move to Dublin. I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, yeah,
Mhm.
whatever. We've gone through this before. We were to Amsterdam at one point through my job and then his job, but it didn't happen. Then when Dublin came around, we were just like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And then when he got it, the first thing I said to him was like, are we moving to Dublin? Like, Dublin? Are we really moving to Ireland? Like, so random.
Mm.
And as soon as we got here, I was like, oh, this is terrible. Everything's super expensive. It's a bit grim. We moved in October, which probably didn't help, but
Yeah.
I was also pregnant, probably feeling a bit hormonal. But then little by little, it just became this perfect city for us. And it's not our forever home for now, but it's just great. I feel very grateful that we're here. And again, it's just saying yes and just being open to it. And change is scary, but at the same time, I think not changing is even more scary.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. This means that you're not growing.
Yeah, yeah, but that's how we see it. Like you
Mhm.
I see change as a positive thing, and some people don't, and that's within their what's the energy type where they can only make a decision every like lunar cycle.
Reflector.
Right. Okay. So this would be
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot.
They have to wait a long time, but that's only like 1% of people.
Yeah, true, true, true.
So
Yeah.
it's really rare. I
Yeah.
actually I have a friend. I saw him yesterday. He's a reflector.
What
So
feels like to be a reflector?
he needs a lot of time to be alone as well to just recharge. Because otherwise, reflectors they also take on other people's personalities and emotions and everything. Because all the 9 energy centers are empty, so they take on everything from other people. So they become a mirror, and in the process, they might lose themselves. So
Wow.
they need to spend a lot of time alone as well, just to get to know themselves. Who am I? Without all these people that I'm reflecting, who am I? They're not just a mirror, they're also personalities on their own.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah, it's so different from us, right? Because if we really tap into it, we can make decisions fairly quickly. Like, are you an emotional manifestor?
Yeah.
I think I'm a sacral. Oh, wait, what's the other one?
You don't have to say it define. So
No,
there
what's the other
can
one?
be ego,
No, it's not ego. It's the
not the mental, but splenic.
splenic. I'm splenic.
Yeah.
I'm
It's kind
splenic.
of like this gut feeling, ooh, I want
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Like what? Let's just trust it.
I was so shocked that I wasn't an emotional manifestor. I was like,
Yeah.
it's, you know, that again, we're even more repelling in a way. But it
Mm.
just means that we can make decisions fairly quickly. And actually, some of the best things that have ever happened in my life are from decisions I made without even, it wasn't even a conscious thing. Because
Mhm.
sometimes I really need to think things and whatever. But actually, some of the best decisions I've ever made are the ones that are on the fly.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
just with it.
In
But
Barcelona, I knew a splenic projector, and she was very often telling me that I might go there today, but maybe not. I'm just gonna see what my spleen wants to do today. And she was very often changing plans and changing direction because splenic.
yeah, and I've heard some people are very much like that. I'm not there. I don't go like, spleen, give me the way, but it's more just like I can have a plan, but then if something intuitively doesn't feel like what I want to do, I will change
Mhm.
it and usually it's for the right decision. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle, you know? It's like I might be looking around, but then I am like, oh, I didn't think about that piece. Put that there and oh no, I can see this piece and this piece and
Mhm.
this. The only way I can it's almost like a domino effect. When I
Yeah.
actually listen to myself, things weirdly have a way of falling into place.
Mhm.
That's the only way I can discuss it in my head. And I don't know if you are like this, but I'm not somebody who can future plan. Like for me, 2027, I think about 2027 because my little one will start school in that year. But
Mm.
2028, not until 3 days ago, where I was talking to a friend and she was like, oh, yeah. I was like, I have not even thought about the year 2028. My brain literally cannot
Mhm.
function that far in advance.
I know it's
Oh.
like planning into the future. Even if I do that, I know that it will change because I will suddenly have this urge to do something completely different. I'm like, oh, let's move to another country. Oh, yeah, let's change career. So I'm actually starting a new career as well. I'm gonna be a
For
teacher
you.
soon. So I'm gonna be working with children. I never thought that this would be me, but now I'm feeling this calling. I'm like, oh, I want to go. Boom.
Tell me, what are you going to be doing? Like, what's the,
I'm gonna be teaching 12 to 16-year-olds at school, and I will be teaching English because I have a degree in English as well.
wow, that's amazing. You'd be great at that.
Because I felt that I kind of want to have an impact
Yeah.
and somehow realized now I want to go to school. I used to have a boyfriend 15 years ago who was a teacher. He burned out. I saw that and I was like, I'm never going to be a teacher. And now I'm like, ah, it actually feels good to do that. So I never know. There's no telling where I will turn next. It's just do whatever is calling me and
I,
whatever feels right.
honestly, I relate to that so hardcore. Honestly, I really relate to that. And what's that feeling wanting to be a teacher? Of course, because you probably didn't have the resources within your wheelhouse to be a teacher at that. But then now you probably do. So for this
Mhm.
however long part of your life, you will be a teacher. And it's then that will lead you to the next thing that gives you
Yeah,
resources for the next thing or
I
whatever.
can see myself actually having my own school or something, being like head of the school. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so funny. I think I don't know if this is a manifestor's thing. It seems to be,
Mhm.
but like we're kind of chameleons and we can change ourselves. And I think we feel very
Yeah.
comfortable in that.
Yeah, very true. So do you feel that any kind of transformation is coming for you soon? Something big, something new?
I do. And I think that's why I've also, after I've had to overcome my feelings of does my podcast have a place in the
Mhm.
universe with the way it is right now? I feel nothing that you do is wasted,
Mhm.
right? So me doing this podcast is a new set of skills that I didn't have before. I've learned so much more. I have more skills than I had a year ago. And so even if this podcast doesn't continue for whatever reason, that I need to take this step to move on to the next thing, whatever that's going to be. And I do feel building up skills that will lead to a bigger thing. So for my next season, I'm getting more people involved and I'm doing things slightly different.
Mhm.
I'm doing my logo change because obviously being a manifester, I felt I have to shed my skin and go into
Mhm.
one. So I'm doing that right now because there's also that unfortunate, I do have a perfectionism quality, which is annoying because it means that I'm just not putting stuff out there. But I do feel like an evolution is coming. And I do feel there's something that I'm working towards. As you said, you feel like you could be the head of a school. I don't know exactly what it looks like. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. But I know that like this podcasting thing is the way for me to gain the skills
Mhm.
and exposure that I need to do whatever it is that I do next. And again, my brain doesn't work in big 5 to 10 years. I can
You only know the next step or maybe only the current step. You don't know. Whenever somebody's like, oh, you have to have a plan 5 years, I'm like, no, no, it doesn't work for me. Come on. I'm not like you.
No, exactly. I always found that question. I don't even know if they ask that question in interviews anymore. I haven't done an interview like that in a while. But when they would ask that, I'd just have to make it up. Oh, yeah, I'd love to be managing the team. Yeah, I'd love. But truly, I don't know. I'd be like, honestly, I was only thinking, I don't even know if I'll be here in 5 years, but sure, I'll just make it up
Yeah.
on the spot. All I know is that when I talk to my gut, this is where I'm meant to be.
Mhm.
You would ask me 5 years ago, what, June 2020, if I'd be living in Dublin with my second season of my podcast, married, all these different, I'd be like, excuse me? I love that. I love that in 5 years, I have no idea what I have. I love that right now, I have no idea where I'm going to be in 5 years. I think that's great. I personally think that's great.
Mm.
But I know that I'm on the right path because I'm just doing things that feel right and that will lead me to better things, and
Mm.
I've got my little one to think about. And I couldn't go back to my old job because it wasn't feeling like it was serving my soul. I studied journalism. That's actually what I studied. I studied broadcast journalism. And so when I moved to London, the reason I moved to London is because I did really well in my master's. So after my mom passed away, I stayed in Sydney and I was like, okay, cool. I'll go do my master's. Cool. I met one of my best friends there. She's one of my soul sisters. So it was worth everything. Sydney at that time media was very white. It's changed somewhat now, but I saw nepotism happen right in front of my eyes while I was interning at some of the big news stations. And not only was nepotism absolutely right, everyone looked completely different to me. They were white, they had blonde hair, they had a certain thing. Or as I said, like they knew somebody who knew somebody. My dad's an engineer, my mom's a nurse. They don't know anybody in Sydney who could help me, right?
Mhm.
So as soon as I realized that there wasn't a place for me there, I had my British passport because my parents are British, and I was like, I'm going to go to London.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to work in TV. All I wanted to do was be a documentarian. Like my goal in life was to be Louis Theroux, like the brown version of Louis Theroux.
Mhm.
And I just took any job in TV. And it's like I was just loving being in TV. It wasn't the kind of TV I wanted to be doing because I was doing more scheduling and planning. But it didn't matter because I was working at like Channel 5 and that was really cool. And then eventually I got to work at Vice. Now, when the Vice, and Vice was like a dream brand for me to
Mhm.
work at. And actually, I got approached on LinkedIn for a job there because they were opening up these TV channels. And I loved my potential boss. The salary was not good, but no media job in London pays really well anyway. And he was like, look, we're starting up these channels. And this is the role that we've got available. At that moment, I was like, dream company,
Mhm.
job I want. And I actually said no. I was like, I have to be true to my heart and I have to say, like,
Mhm.
it's not going to work for me. And then he was like, look, we're starting up these TV channels. We're growing rapidly. I know what you want to do. And if we can give you that opportunity to work more in production and development, obviously that's going to be there for you. And so I was like, oh, okay, do it. Now,
Mhm.
because of that job, it led me to a lot of other opportunities and I got to work at Vice. God knows what it is now. And I got made redundant 5 years later or whatever it was. But but it was a great time and I don't regret it. But then when that job ended, I was like, has it fulfilled my soul? Have I
Yeah.
told stories? Have I made stories? No, I haven't. But this podcast is a way for me to share people's stories, which was the original reason why I studied journalism in the first place. So
Mhm.
back to your question of are things coming, what do you see coming and do you feel an evolution? Yeah, I do, because I'm doing the things that I really love to do. And it's talking to people and finding out more about the world. And even if making the world a better place is just about educating people or putting a smile on their face, I've already done something positive in this crazy world that we live in. If I
Mhm.
can slightly better by just making people think a little bit differently or making them smile or making them feel like they can be vulnerable, I've already done something really positive.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I do feel like it's coming because I'm finally doing the thing that I set out to do when I started studying. So yeah.
Okay, so where can people find you and your podcast?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm on Spotify, on YouTube. Obviously, coming from the TV background, it always had to be a video podcast. I know you love the video podcasting too. So I'm
Mhm.
on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Instagram. I'm getting into TikTok. It's really difficult, but when you're in your late 30s, TikTok's not really your game, but I'm getting there.
I tried it last year. It's like I was even doing TikTok lives in Estonian, and
How was that?
it was a little bit fun for me, but I got so annoyed by the comments. And as a manifestor, we don't like to respond. And
Yeah.
I felt there were random strangers demanding stuff from me. Show me this, show me that, and just asking very personal, private questions. I felt attacked. So at some point, I was like, okay, I stopped it. I had 2,500 followers. It grew
Wow.
very rapidly, but people, they were just commenting on everything. And it was like, oh, who the hell is that person? And why do they have anything to say about my life? I was like, so maybe if you do it, turn the comments off.
I find TikTok such a weird space. I also think it's so weird that people demand something from people that they don't know, you
And,
know?
and you're doing it for free. They're like,
Yeah.
you have to do this and that. I'm like, what? Who
Dad's
are
lucky
you?
dads.
Yes.
I met this guy who used to work at TikTok and he worked in the team where there are people, I don't know this because I'm not on TikTok, but who just go about their lives and recording them making a coffee and doing da 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 da. And people pay money just to
Mhm.
see this random person doing stuff. And I was like, why? I can barely keep up. I don't call my friends enough. I don't text my friends back enough. I'm not keeping on top of my chores. Why would I sit there on my phone watching somebody else live their life when I'm struggling to keep on top of mine? This
Maybe
makes no sense.
maybe it's easier for these people because it's kind of anonymous. You're not engaging. You're just watching, kind of
Really?
consuming, and you don't have to
Really?
put yourself in there emotionally. You don't have to invest. You don't have to do anything. You just watch. It's like okay, yeah, it's kind of passive.
Oh, honestly, look, great for them. And look, if people want to chuck money at other people for just living their lives, if that's how you want to spend your money, you are completely entitled to do that. But it is a world that I cannot yet tap into.
Mm.
But yeah, so
Oh, maybe tomorrow you start a TikTok channel and you're gonna be hugely popular or
maybe,
something. Never.
maybe, yeah, yeah.
So this plane is like okay, TikTok. Who? No.
I love TikTok. I'm such a TikToker. I'm going to start doing the dances and the whatever, the challenges. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I really love talking to you and getting to know more about
Yeah.
you as well.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you.